Hello everybody and welcome back to the Library of Babel. Alrighty, so you know what time it is, and it's called suffering. Because that's what we're gonna be doing. So, real quick, two things before we officially begin. Number one, Mr. Not Caden requested a brand new outfit, which I was more than happy to provide, because I'm just so kind in this terribly horrible place. And the second thing is, I did forget someone. Vivosa! Currently without a build, but I'm working on it. So, welcome aboard, Vivosa! Now, I almost guarantee you that it's not perfect. Black hair, brown eyes, dark brown skin. I tried to make it look pretty good. And curly hair. There is a couple more options for curly hair. And I was kind of looking around at what might look good. But truthfully, there's not like a whole lot of options. There is this one, which I don't think looks bad. There's also this one. Yeah, there's a couple more options, but overall, I think Vivosa looks cute. But if you do not like how she looks, let me know. I'll get her changed as soon as possible. Another thing I want to say is, you know, All Shadow. I tend to be a little bit scatterbrained, and as one commenter said, a little ditzy. So, I do want to apologize for forgetting some of you guys' characters. Vivosa is currently the only one, but chances are there might be another one in the future. But I'm going to do my absolute best not to forget anybody. But yeah, so I just wanted to apologize for that. I do want to get all of your guys' characters in as you request them, and we still got plenty of room to do so. So I really don't have an excuse for missing anyone, at least not until we start getting really, really full. As for builds, we do still need to work on that. Gifts, yeah, I'll work on that later. But which one should we start with? We know this one sucks. We know this one won't be fun. This one's gonna suck. And this one's gonna suck. So, our options are really good right now. Let's just see what the passives are here. Oh, yes, I have been so afraid. So distinct, so different, it's hard to... But what the... Oh, boy. Here we go. A Love Towns person. 255 health, 100 stagger resist, ineffective to all slash, weak, normal, normal. Deals 30% more damage than stagger damage, takes 10% more damage. At emotion level 3, you get a buff, and melting flesh. Plus, percent HP missing, percent, all damage and tremor bursted. Plus, 50% received all rupture damage and stagger damage. After taking 20% of max HP damage, draw one page, and on hit, burst tremor twice. When hit, unless staggered, attacker loses 4 stagger. Oh my god, that is awful. What is that? That is so mean. And then basically nothing but sharp pommelin, plus 10 power if one-sided. Oh! On hit, inflict 4 tremor this scene and 3 tremor. 3 bleed next scene. On clash win, inflict 4 tremor. And double sharp ram. On clash lose, plus 6 next dice power. Oh. On clash win, give 1 strength to the ally with the highest HP next scene. Oh, that's gonna suck for the second part of this fight. And on Clash Win, inflict 4 tremor. And then you guys are basically the same. Okay, so basically the same thing, but some with slash, some with pierce. Gotcha. So is the play to just bring Netzach's floor and hope for the best? I mean, they do have the highest stagger resist, although, hear me out, Netzach's floor has really good stagger resist. Tifrith also will, but doesn't right now. So, yeah. Options are both limited and not. Love is good thing. Yeah, we'll go with that. So, I gotta warn you, at the time of recording this particular segment, I am, extremely sleep deprived. So, expect some not good plays. Warning you now, right? That way I have a bit more of an alibi. You'd be surprised how much of a toll taking care of 2 dogs would have on you. Now, that being said, we do want to reduce as much of their clash power as possible. So, unfortunately, that means that we literally need to clash everything and hope for the best. 2 to 5, honestly, I don't think this is really gonna work. We have a very tiny chance. Honestly, most of our pages aren't gonna work. But let's go ahead and go for your shield. That way we can keep everyone a little bit safe. I'm going to go for Sunset Blade, and then I'm also going to go for Crack of Dawn. Yeah. So Crack of Dawn will clash, and then Sunset Blade will do some burn. I think that's going to be for the best, so we're going to go ahead and give it a try. Okay, Eject doing mainly what it needs to. Sunset Blade getting quite a bit of burn immediately. We also all get a little bit of extra defense next turn. Crack of Dawn getting us an immediate stagger. Butterfly Slash doing quite well. Bizarre Attack giving us a little bit of healing, and then we also do survive that last attack. I'm going to go for Ashes on Malkuth because she's the one with the strongest burn page at the moment. Now, let's see. We could go for another Crack of Dawn. Honestly, I'm thinking I'm going to. So what I'm going to do, let's go for another Sunset Blade, and then we'll go for Crack of Dawn. Ooh. Okay, our clashes are going to get a little bit awkward here. On Clash would inflict some tremor. You know what? I'm going to try it. I don't know if it's the correct play, but we're going to try regardless. Hopefully our Knight doesn't end up going down. On Clash, lose. So I'm just not going to clash that at all, if possible. Then I'm going to go for another Crack of Dawn right here. And then let's go Flash of Sunup. Let's go for another Flash of Sunup, and you guessed it, we're going for yet another one. So ideally, this turn results in a stagger and potentially close to a kill. Okay, Sunset Blade doing wonderful things. Crack of Dawn also helping us out quite a bit. We take a little bit of one-sided damage, but that's fine. More burn going around. Ouch! Okay, Art Knight taking 32 damage, even with a ton of protection. That's, woo, yep. I'm gonna go for Matchlight, and I think I'm gonna go for Unmoo. Okay, we do need to protect Art Knight for the moment. There is a very real chance that he does go down here. I'm gonna go for another Eject. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna change my order a little bit. We're still gonna go for Eject. Then, who's going for Art Knight? Pretty much you and you. We're not able to stop this one at all, so there is a chance that Art Knight dies this turn. Unfortunate, but not a lot that we can do about it. All we can do is try our best. So let's go ahead and debuff that one. Let's clash here. I'm gonna ignore this one. Okay, and instead we're gonna go for an eject right here. And then I think I want to go for a one-sided attack. Yeah, unfortunately I do think Art Knight is going to die, which I'm not a huge fan of, but unfortunately there's really just not a whole lot else to be done about it. So let's go ahead and guarantee the kill with some burn. Okay, Flash of Sun up. We do manage to get a little bit of burn. That one is down. Art Knight, unfortunately, does go down. Eject, working out decently for us, though we do take a bit of attacks for it. Okay, one of them dies to burn. I think I'm going to go for Gluttony, and I'm going to do it on... I think I'm going to do it on Moo. Yeah, I think that might be the play. So, we are going to be hyper buffed, so I'm just going to go for the ones that I know are giving them big buffs, like, for example, this one. Crackodon should be able to get us a stagger there. Let's see. And then we could stop this one with the Sunset Blade. Whether we win the clash or not, totally different question, but that's okay. Little iffy. So you know what? We're just gonna try and spread the damage as much as possible. This is gonna be a really, really messy turn, but so far it's working out for us. Sunset Blade does guarantee us a kill. Moo is about to be staggered. We do end up exploding for some reason. Okay, Sunset Blade going down. More burn. Ooh, we don't get staggered, not yet. That's another Lovetown member down. You're dead to burn regardless of what happens, so I'm just gonna go for Flash of Sun up to defend ourselves. Let's see. I'm gonna go Butterfly. Actually, yeah, let's go here. Wait. I'm screwing up my orders so bad. Oh my goodness. Butterfly. Sunset. There we go. Then we do Crack of Dawn. And let's go Bizarre Attack. And another Bizarre Attack. And that should be the fight. Ideally without any extra losses. Okay, we do end up getting staggered. Oh, which does let Malkuth take a ton of free damage. But luckily, we do go on to Phase 2. And you already know who's waiting for us. It's them. Tom Mary. Normal, ineffective to everything stagger, and a normal weak. Does 50% more damage. Takes 25% more damage. Has a unique... shimmering. Oh. Has a unique attack pattern. The Power of Love. +1+ number of dead allies present. Speed dice. +1+ HP... percent HP missing by 20. Dice power. And plus percent HP missing times 2. % all damage. Oh, fun. At the start of each scene, gain number of other living allies present, protections. On act win, revive the dead townspeople with 50% max HP, so there's no cheesing it. I hate to say it, but that is smart. And you also recover 50% of your own max HP. Oh, on character death, gain 1 strength, endurance, and haste for 3 scenes. And character's max HP by 2 if ally. Max HP for the rest of the act. At the start of each scene, at 50% or lower HP, proceeds to the next phase. Gain a new attack pattern and a passive. Recover to 50% of max stagger resist from stagger, and HP cannot drop below 50% before this occurs. Oh, good. Ruckus. Plus target's tremor by 9, max of 2, dice power. Plus target's bleed by 3, max of 3, damage up. On use, gain 1 recovery up. Ugh. On hit, inflict 3 tremor this scene and 2 bleed next scene. On hit, inflict 2 bleed this scene and burst tremor. Recovery up, plus X times 10% HP and SP recovery for the scene. Also, yeah, you can just restore up to, let's say, on a good turn, 60% of your max HP. Cool. Faint memories, plus HP percent missing by 30 dice power. Unused gain 2 recovery up. Did we need to give Tom Mary that much recovery? On Clash Win, recover 3% of max HP. Oh! On hit, inflict 4 tremor this scene and 3 bleed next scene. On hit, inflict 2 bleed this scene and burst tremor. Wrath of Torment. On use, lose 15 HP for plus 2 dice power. On hit, inflict 4 tremor this scene and 3 bleed next scene. On hit, inflict 3 tremor this scene and 2 bleed next scene. On hit, inflict 3 bleed this scene and burst tremor twice. Lovetown welcomes all. On Clash Win, recover 2% of max HP. On hit, give 3 strength to all allies next scene. Okay, and on Clash Win, recover 1% of max HP. Would a square look nice? Plus 350% all stagger resistances for the scene. Use a powerful attack pattern next scene. On Clash Win, gain 2 strength next scene. On hit, inflict 4 tremor this scene and 3 bleed next scene. And on hit, inflict 2 bleed this scene and burst tremor. So, is that saying you're easy to stagger, or is that saying that you are literally impossible to stagger? Or is it saying that you deal 350% stagger damage? I don't think it's that one. I want to believe that it's the first one and you just get easily staggered, but I'm having trouble believing it myself. Let's play! Plus 8% HP missing by 25, offensive power and defensive power. After use, recover HP missing by 10 HP. On Clash Win, recover 2% of max HP. On hit, inflict 3 tremor this scene and 2 bleed next scene. On Clash Win, recover 3% of max HP. And on hit, inflict 4 tremor this scene and 3 bleed next scene. And finally, Triangle sounds better. On use, gain 1 strength and 2 damage ups. On hit, burst tremor. On hit, inflict 7 tremor this scene and 5 bleed next scene. Inflict 9 tremor this scene and 7 bleed next scene. And inflict 11 tremor this scene and 9 bleed next scene. What can I really say about that? I can't wait to be demonetized on this. That's fine. Alright, here we go. Eject, working out somewhat nicely. Butterfly, also working out nice. Everyone gets 3 strength next scene, and there's nothing we can do about it. Despite the -2 power, it seems like it doesn't end up working. Okay, unfortunately our block dice did get us into a little bit of trouble. A ton of evade dice to work with, though we do get a fair amount of bleed. I don't know. Honestly, neither of these sound good. I'm just gonna yeet. I don't want either. I don't want either. Nope, they don't sound good. We're gonna go for double bizarre attack. Just to, you know, try and keep ourselves alive. I know it's not going to work because of that extra 3 strength. But, you know, may as well try. We are gonna go for a stagger if we possibly can. Let's see, I'm gonna attempt to stop some damage from going down over here. Same deal right here, and same deal right here. Unfortunately, we are going to take quite a bit of damage this turn. Not a lot of ways to get around it, so let's hope that our burn comes into play. Okay, that 3 strength absolutely hurts. Getting close to a stagger, we do take that extra damage, unfortunately for us. The bleed is also going to be chipping away at us, but our fire damage should hopefully be chipping away at them. I don't know what's happening. Would a square look nice? Okay, so now... Okay, it looks like you are going to take extra stagger damage, which, while that doesn't really help us, here's the thing. Everyone's going to recover some extra health, right? So, hear me out. What if we prep everyone who's going to be coming in next fight and just attempt to do as much damage as physically possible? What if we just try that, right? So we just try and get a bunch of damage, and maybe it'll work out. They are going to be recovering a fair bit of extra health, but ideally, with the extra burn damage that we get this turn, maybe it'll be enough to sneak out some cheeky kills. Okay, they are going to go for the triangle 4 times, in fact, so we're absolutely dead. But... no, that's it. Just, we're absolutely dead. And they're full health. In fact, they're more than full health. They have 1,300 health now. I also forgot to mention it, but welcome aboard, Headshot Fraudster. Sorry, we're gonna throw you directly into the deep end, but you'll get an introduction right after this. Well, you know what they say. Guns are ineffective in this here city. So, let's put it to the test. 104 damage was just done. Ow! Once again, our unused block dice really not being very helpful to us. Tom Mary gets 4 strength this scene. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's real good. We're gonna go for a bullseye, hope for the best. We're gonna ignore that as much as possible, and instead, we're gonna go for a return fire. Let's see, Tom Mary is going to do a ton of damage to us this scene. There's really not a whole lot to be done about it. So what I'm gonna do instead is try and get some damage on them. Return fire, hopefully we get a kill. I'm not really holding my breath though. Then I'm gonna go for another return fire. Netzak is going to attempt to get a giga kill. Let's see. Let's go here. And then... yeah, let's attempt to go for indiscriminate shots. Maybe it'll be enough. I'm hoping that this turn is going to work out quite nicely for us. So far, it's okay. Okay, unfortunately, Ruckus is significantly faster. Oh, because you got 1 strength, even though the turn hadn't ended. Oh, so you completely cheat. Even if someone dies mid-turn, you get the extra stats. Oh, so we're just full-blown cheating now. Okay. Epic. Oh, okay, is that what we're doing? We're literally just cheating. Okay, so that's good to know. Unfortunately, there is no world that we get a stagger on Tom Mary. So, we are just dead next scene, I guess. Ow. Okay, stab and detonate does work out quite nicely for us. Unfortunately, we are staggered on Seata. So, yeah, here comes a triangle. And needless to say, we're dead. We're super, super dead, in fact. Don't worry, they only have 1,400 health. What, let's think this out. So our play is go for the minions, but then that retroactively boosts up Tamari. We could go for Tamari, but if we index Tamari, then all of the minions get plus 10 power, which effectively guaranteed staggers us. So we have to split our attention. But because we're on a timer for triangles, if we split our attention, Tamari gets a guaranteed party wipe on us. Okay. We'll think on that. As for our brand new friend, welcome aboard, Headshot Fraudster. It only makes sense that you're using a gun. I'll find a cool outfit for you at some point. So, yeah, as far as battle symbols, we have no battle symbols. But we're working on it. So... Technically, Hod might be a really good... I don't know, man, honestly. Like, I'm trying to think this through logically. The amount of bleed procs would be nice. It also does give us a shield to work with. But would we have enough time to get all the bleed going before we just flat die? I don't know. Malkuth as an opener actually worked out extremely well. Honestly, I think had we been able to section out our burn a little bit more efficiently to where all three of Tamari's buddies were low health, let's say they're all at 1% health, right? And then we die, because of course we do. We restart the fight, they're at 51% health, which is more manageable. We rapid fire take all three out, right? And again, this isn't a perfect world. Then, boom, all three are dead. Tamari isn't gonna get the buffs because they're already dead, I think. Then, we just all in Tamari. A bunch of bleed is already there. Squares gets readied up. We do a ton of stagger damage. Ideally, we get a stagger, but if we don't, maybe the bleed drops them to 50% max HP, which makes them go into phase 2. I don't know what happens in phase 2. As far as I know, there's even more ads to worry about. But still. So which other one do we feel good about? Because I don't feel good about this one. I really don't feel good about this one. So it's up to these two, I guess. I have a plan. We're opening up with guns, right? And then we're gonna give Hod's floor a try. Mass bleed. So let's see how it goes. Opening up, this is obviously going to be our highest amount of damage that we get is going to be turn 1 because that's when all of our passives are active. Unfortunately, we did not stop the extra 3 strength next turn. Ow. Okay, we do take about 700 damage, so really unfortunate there. So I'm debating going Token of Friendship, but I also don't think it'll help. You know what? Let's go for Thorns on Netzak and just try and like really get some nuking potential down. I think that's gonna be the play. So we go here, Baba Boy. Then we go here, Baba Boo. We have an extra +6 damage on Netzak right now, right? So, technically, if we hit some giga one-sided attacks, we're going to be in business. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go for double indiscriminate weapon. Reason being, even if we lose the first dice roll, the second one has a very high chance of winning. So, you know, in a perfect world, that actually matters. We'll see if we're in that perfect world. I am also just going to go for as many shots as I can take. I'm going to go for a return fire right here. Then we're going to go for the bullseye. Actually, you know what? Indiscriminate shots. Okay. If we sequenced correctly, this should be a ton of damage, which will leave Tom Mary in a very vulnerable position. Again, ideally. Or we'll lose all our clashes, and we are just sad. Okay, Netzach won 0 of those clashes, which is real bad. Wow, we even lost that one. Huh. Huh. Boy, that sucks. That sucks real bad. We, in fact, lost, about every clash that we desperately wanted to win. So what we're gonna do is we are just gonna try and do mass damage to Tomeri and assume that we're going to die. Well, so far so good, other than the health recovery. Tomeri has started at higher health than where we started. Okay, so good to know. That didn't work. So indexing Tomeri down with guns, not the play. Operation Mass Bleed is a go. Turn 1 is going to be a little bit brutal because we need to stack up all of our bleed for next scene. So we're not really going to be able to do a whole heck of a lot this turn, so we kind of just have to deal with it. That's fine. Tomeri was already full health. Recovering health literally doesn't do anything. Okay. Cocoon on Firenze, because you have the strongest page on the floor. Now, die. Is that even worth going for? I don't even know. We're gonna try. I'm gonna attempt it, and we're just gonna see what happens. I'm gonna try and go for a retaliate. I don't think it's gonna work. Let's get a little bit of shielding. I'm gonna go for a flank attack just for the extra bleed. I'm gonna ignore you and try and spread the bleed as much as possible, I suppose. We will go for a now die to try and counter that. Then we can go for another here's my chance. Ideally, this bleed will actually matter. Okay, good debuffing for next turn. Good, 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 good. Okay, retaliate doesn't quite work out. Now die does a decent job. Okay, head-to-head for some more debuffing. Flank attack, same reason. We do end up getting staggered, and we also lose a niece. I'm gonna go with Axe on Firenze. See, God, it's so much to keep track of. I really don't know how you're supposed to... Okay, if we go for frontal dodge, we should counter pointed pommelin, which will be good. Unfortunately, Chloe is just dead regardless of what we do. We're gonna open up with now die, then we'll go for head-to-head, try and buff ourselves up next turn. Maybe all of this bleed will make you go to second phase? Let's see, second phase is going to be at about 300 health, give or take. Maybe. I mean, we might even get a stagger. It was close, at least. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Let's go for alertness on Hod. That way she has a little bit of strength. That was me, sorry. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like we are going to get the stagger before we need it, so I'm just gonna attempt to get some big damage. We'll go for now die in a vain hope that it actually works, and then we'll just see what fate has in store. Oh, we're actually so close to getting a stagger. Shame it doesn't matter, but we were close. Dang. Guns have potential. Bleed has potential. Burn has potential. But none of it has the winning power. Alright, bro, I'ma keep it real. I don't think we're doing Love Town right now. We got close. I think the lowest health we got Tomari was like, what? 200? Give or take? But that healing passive is just nasty. Oh my. Like, if you remove the healing passive, boom, bop, pow, we win. But since we can't do that, yeah, you know. So, let's see. We know this one is going to be Bleed City. We know this one we can't do right now. I don't remember what these two are. I'm going to do this one. I I'm sure we'll be fine, probably. Okie dokie. Interestingly, we're only allowed 3 characters. Meow. 30% more damage done, 10% damage received. Normal, normal, endured, normal, normal, normal. Not too much health, actually. Ooh. Ooh, wish I would have looked at that passive. Oh my goodness. Okay. The rhythm of cracking bones. +2 rupture and tremor through pages. At the start of the act, inflict 3 damage down, stagger damage down, tremor, and rupture to all enemies. At the start of each scene, give 2 damage... Or wait. At the start of each scene, give 2 damage up to number of enemies with tremor, random allies, and 2 stagger damage up to number of enemies with rupture, random allies. On and when hit, +1 blunt power and plus 30% damage and stagger damage. On blunt win, inflict 1 fragile and susceptible and 3 rupture and tremor next scene. That's 1 passive. Meow meow. At the start of each scene, give 1 strength, number of other Bremen musician allies, damage ups to all Bremen musician allies, and number of Bremen musicians alive minus number of scenes, random allies. Plus targets rupture and tremor by 12, max damage ups by 3, max of 3. Dice power on pages involving rupture or tremor. Okay, so if we have a bunch of rupture and tremor on ourselves, you're gonna absolutely destroy us. Gotcha. Improv drumming, plus targets susceptible, max of 3, rupture through pages and damage, and plus targets fragile, max of 3, tremor through pages and stagger and deflect damage. On stagger, deal targets tremor, rupture damage. Oh my. Okay, I like the synergy that they have, but dear lord. Triple upbeat performance. On use, restore 2 light. That sounds amazing. On hit, inflict 2 rupture. On hit, inflict 2 rupture and sunder rupture. Double red notes. Combat start, give 1 strength to 1 random ally. On hit, inflict 2 tremor. On hit, inflict 1 tremor and tremor burst. Triple unforgettable melody. +1 dice power at 10 plus targets rupture, tremor. What? +1 dice power at 10. Oh, okay, I see. So if you have 10 rupture, they gain 1 power. If you have 10 tremor as well, that's +1 additional power. Okay. That's scary. Also, combat start, give 1 strength to 2 random allies. On hit, inflict 3 rupture next scene. On clash win, gain 2 damage up next scene. And on hit, gain 3 tremor next scene. And tendon cords. On hit, lowest percent HP ally recovers 6% and then recovers 4%, both on hit. Okay, good healing, good healing. Weak, weak, endured, endured, normal, normal. Squeak, squeak. After tremor burst, twice per target per scene, inflict 1 fragile and damage down this scene, and gain 1 damage up next scene. On blunt hit, once per scene, inflict 2 rupture and tremor, and 1 fragile and susceptible to 2 random enemies next scene. Okay. I'm losing it. I'm no longer understanding what's being said to me. Improv drumming, plus target susceptible, max of 3, rupture through pages and damage, and plus targets fragile, max of 3, tremor through pages and stagger and deflect damage on stagger deal. Okay, we've seen that one. Triple red notes, triple heavy peaks, which I don't remember the block dice for. Combat start, inflict 1 feeble to 2 random enemies. Ugh. On hit, inflict 3 tremor and burst tremor twice. Musicians of Bremen is going to be key to beating Tom Mary, isn't it? On hit, inflict 3 tremor, burst it twice. On clash win, inflict 3 tremor, and triple shrine to music. Combat start, inflict 1 feeble to 3 random enemies. On hit, inflict 4 tremor next scene, do it again, and on clash win, gain 1 stagger damage up next scene. Oink! Okay. So you deal 10% more damage, you take 50% reduced damage, and you take 20% more stagger damage. That's insane. So he basically just has 5 protection at all points. Weak, weak, normal, normal, endured, endured. Oinky, oink! After Tremor Burst, twice per target per scene, inflict 1 susceptible and stagger damage down this scene, and gain 1 stagger damage up next scene. At the start of each scene, inflict 4 Rupture and Tremor, and 1 Fragile, Susceptible, and Damage downs to a random enemy if there is more than 1 enemy present. That's a whole lot of free stuff that you're getting. Triple Red Notes, triple Tendon Chords, and triple Hard Rehearsal. On use, restore 2 light and gain 1 damage up. On clash win, gain 1 stagger damage next scene. On hit, inflict 2 tremor and burst tremor. On hit, inflict 2 rupture next scene. Honestly, right, hear me out. Sally is Meow, Roland is Moo Moo, and Raichu is Oink. Well, but Raichu's more... You like the more heavy-hitting stuff. Maybe you're Moo Moo. Maybe Roland is Oink. Oh my god. That is so many free things that they get on us. Are you serious? We start the fight. Okay, just to really break this down, Sally and Raichu both have 3 damage down, 3 stagger damage down, 3 tremor, and 3 rupture. Roland has 4 of the stagger and damage down, and 7. He also has fragile and susceptible. So we're just gonna see how this goes. Okay, that's about the opener that you would expect. Ouch. Are you serious? Stab and detonate didn't work? That is so sad. Brawl goes down, and it uses the only card in hand that we did not want it to use. That is some of the worst luck that you could have asked for. We're gonna buff up Raichu. Dude, I can't believe it. It hits Stay Calm out of everything. I'm so freaking sad, bro. Speaking of, do we want to roll it again? Yeah, honestly. I'm just, you know what? We're just gonna go for it. I am going to go for another Refine. I would love to go for Tailoring. Unfortunately, I don't think that's gonna work out. So this is going to gain +3 power, so it's going to be 7... No. It's going to be 8 to 10? Okay, that actually has a decent chance to win, all things considered. We do have 10 Rupture, so that's going to gain +1 power. I'm going to attempt to go for double Refine. Maybe that'll work out for us. Maybe it won't. Let's find out. Okay, quite a bit of power on our end. Pretty good. You love to see it. We're winning clashes. Excellent. Brawl going down. We get quite a bit of damage, as well as a bit of Rupture. Ouch! Tremor was a little bit too much. Stay Calm, just to get a little bit more Rupture on them. We're gonna go for Pulsation, just for the extra value. Ooh, we are in a real tricky spot. This is a guaranteed stagger. And then this will prevent some healing. Yeah, honestly, I think Sally's dead regardless of what we do. So I am going to go for Tailoring. You know what? I'm going to go for Stab and Detonate and then Tailoring. And let's hope that this works out for the best. Okay, guaranteed stagger going down. Scratch that, getting a decent amount of value. Stab and Detonate so that we get a little bit of our stagger resist back. Tailoring so we get quite a bit of bleed. Sally is unfortunately going to go down. Okay. Are we confident that we can get enough kills for Fervent Beats? Honestly, no. but I'm gonna try it. My reasoning for this is, if Raichu gets staggered, he's dead anyway. So, because we already know that we are going to die, if we get staggered, we may as well just roll it. That being said, I am... You know what? Hang on. I'm gonna go for Gamble, which should, because it's going first, discard the other Gamble, which means that Brawl should be a guaranteed hit. Ideally. I don't know that it will be, but we're going to see. So if I did this correctly, Gamble goes first, discards the other Gamble. Brawl then only has a single target, which is scratch that. Let's see if it works. Gamble goes down, quite a bit of damage. Brawl goes down. We take out Meow. Oh, Roland does get staggered. Unfortunately, that might be game. We did also get another turn because of the kill. Oh, you're going for a lot of healing. I wish I could stop that a little bit more effectively. Unfortunately, I don't think that's gonna happen. Yeah, I think Roland dies. Alright, let's see what happens here. Quite a bit of Rupture being done. We might be able to get a kill with Raichu. Okay, we're gonna go for Blood. Okay. I really want to go for Brawl, but I don't think it's gonna work out for us very well. Let's try, okay, here's my reasoning. Brawl has a decent chance of rolling Brawl. If that happens, I think we kill Oink. If it doesn't, I think we die. So basically, I'm going for a bit of a 50-50. If it hits Brawl, if Brawl hits Brawl, then Oink is dead. We've killed 2 of them. That's a good amount of pages that we get to use. We do land the Brawl, and he does go down. The 50-50 actually paid off. We do end up losing the fight. But that was a dang good attempt. That honestly was so much better than I could have asked for. That went so freaking well. We killed Meow, we killed Oink, first try. That was a beautiful attempt.
Guns are ineffective inside the city.
Let's see how ineffective they are. Ah! Okay, we do take a little bit of damage. Eject worked out real nice. Oh my god! Ciara almost got staggered off 1 hit. Whatever, bro. We are gonna go for Laughing Powder. By the way, thinking about it, I actually think the musicians would work best on that sax floor, purely because of the ego synergy. That being said, I kind of think that we're out of juice already. Our turn 1 was not nearly as effective as I think it needed to be. So yeah, I think we're in a bit of trouble. I am gonna go just for as much damage as physically possible. We're just gonna try and spam. Yeah. We're gonna try and spam, CC people. I'm gonna go for the Stab and Detonate just to give ourselves a little bit of our stagger resist back, and we're just gonna hope for the best for this round. Okay, we do end up getting staggered on Ciara. That's okay. We do take a fair amount of damage on Sean. Actually, way more than I was expecting. God, even with that +1 Pierce dice power, we're still losing a lot of these clashes. That's really surprising. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't think guns are super effective against lunatics. I think that's what we're learning here. So we are going to keep trying. I'm going to go for Not Another Step, and then I think I'm going to go for Headshot. Unfortunately, a lot of healing is about to go down, but let's see what can be done. Fair amount of Rupture damage being done. Okay, we do end up losing a couple clashes, but that's a bit of rupture in return. Ciara is still alive, despite it all. So we do get another turn to potentially work things out. I'm going to go for Echoes from Beyond. And this is another reason I actually think that Netzak's floor would probably work best. Netzak has the highest health, so we're going to give it to him. Okay, just about got a stagger going. A lot of them are going to get extra strength, which isn't fantastic. Let's try and debuff Oink as much as possible. Let's go for Headshot, and maybe we get a stagger. Then we'll go for Not Another Step, just to get some more damage. I'm going to go for Refine, and then I'm going to go for Indiscriminate Shots. Sean might... No, he's guaranteed gonna take some damage. Honestly, we might lose him this turn, but let's find out. Okay, huge damage going down on Meow. Actually, because Sean died to Moo Moo and not Oink, that is some reduced healing for them. Unfortunately, it didn't matter, because we're already about to die, but, you know, in theory, it would've. Dang. Okay, so unfortunately, guns are ineffective against lunatics. I think that's the lesson we learned here. You know, I notice it seems to always be the patron librarian that gets the majority of the debuffs. I wonder if there's something to that. But here we go again, this time with some blood. Okay, interesting start. Oh, bad start. We do have quite a bit of bleed ready to go, but it's also not as much as I would like. We do have a little bit of fascinating fabric that we get to use. I'm gonna go for Cocoon on Firenze, because you are the strongest on the floor. We're gonna go for Now Die. We're also gonna go head-to-head. Why not? Absolutely stack up that bleed. Will Be Tasty is not quite going to work out for us, but we will get quite a bit of healing out of it. I am going to go for Here's My Chance. Head-to-head, I think, should be okay, and then we're going to attempt a flank attack. I'm not confident about the flank attack, but oh well. Okay, good debuffing. Oh, 39 bleed next scene. You love to see it. Will Be Tasty healing us a little bit. Now's my chance. Also kind of working out. Hod, unfortunately, does get staggered, and that leads to her being killed. Okie dokie. We're going to go for Axe on Firenze for largely the same reason. I'm going to go for Frontal Dodge. Hope for the best. Then, let's go head-to-head. Let's go for We'll Make Fine Silk. I'm confident in that. Then I'm gonna go for Will Be Tasty. Okay, well, that didn't work out. So much for being confident. Oh, that bleed damage. I'll tell you what. The bleed damage is certainly there. Dang. Okay, there's potential here in Hod's floor. Gotta be honest. There is potential. Unfortunately, I think they're gonna have a little bit more healing than we are. Let's see how this turn goes. This will be a big make or break, because we have 3 ego pages, Alertness, Axe, and Cocoon. So Firenze is actually going to be doing like an insane amount of value here. Not to mention we do also have quite a bit of bleed on ourselves. Okay, we get a stagger, 61 damage being done immediately after. Head-to-head winning quite decisively. Dang, there is serious potential here. I'm going to go for Obsession, and maybe something will happen here. I don't know. We do have all of our Now Dies, though. You are super slow, so I'm just going to go for it. Let's go double Now Die. Honestly, this might just flat kill us. But we're still going to try. So, Moo Moo should die, and Meow should also die. Oh my, literally one-shot her. Holy! Wait a minute. We actually can very well win here. if we don't die to bleed. I think I'm just gonna go all in. We have a 60 health shield. I actually think that we win. I think Firenze actually just wins this fight. Holy hard carry, Batman. What? Okay, wow. Okay. Actually just hard carried. Wow. That... I am actually so freaking shocked at how well that worked. That is actually insane.
What in the... Angela, what's going on? That's blood. I thought you were a pure machine.
I am, you idiot. Their baseball was bloody. Yeah, that's probably how that lore goes. Give us the goods. Bam, bam, bam. Nice. Not a bad deal at all. Baseball bat, by the way. Well, okay. At least we could say that we have one victory under our belt. We're so close to being able to get our fourth person in Tiffer's floor. Should we just see what the other two floors have in store? I know that this one's gonna suck, but maybe this one will be manageable. But let's just take a peek. Let's take a peek. Oh my god, I forgot it was Wedge Office. Never mind. I'm pretty sure that we are going to die. Also, should I do the Tifferth voice for them?
Help yourself. I'm, kind of like a Tifferth.
Hey, thanks for the meal. That's super nice of you.
Yeah, whatever. Shut up.
And so it begins. All right. Let's see what their passives are before we do anything else, yeah? We do actually get 2 floors. Wait a minute. We get 2 floors of 4 people. Okay, wait a minute. This might be more achievable than I thought. We'll give it one try, okay? We'll give it one try, and then we'll just count our lucky gooses. Oscar. Normal, endured, normal. He deals 10% more damage and takes 20% less. Deadly precision, plus Starlight, all damage. What the heck is Starlight? On one-sided hit, give 1 Starlight to ally with lowest Starlight. At the start of each scene, gain number of Clash wins last scene, max of 3, haste, and Starlight. Oh boy. What is that? Bro, are you for real? What is that passive, really? Okay. Wedge. +1 at 3+ speed advantage, pierce and evade dice power, and all damage. On evade win, all other allies recover, base roll by 2 if they are not from Wedge Office, stagger resist. On 2 pierce wins, once per page, gain 2 pierce damage up and haste next scene. If owner is the Wedge Office leader, at the start of each scene, gain number of other Wedge Office allies present, haste and pierce damage up. On 2 pierce wins, once per page, give all other Wedge Office allies 1 pierce power up, pierce damage up, and haste next scene. Unrelenting. Upon taking lethal damage once per act, nullify it and HP can't drop below 0 until the start of the next scene. At the start of the next scene, recover 10% of max HP, restore 2 light, and draw 2 pages. Whoa, buff to Unrelenting, really? Okay. Now, 10% of max HP, that has the potential to be way stronger than just getting locked at 25 health. Agile Piercer. +1 speed on pierce win, +1 max of 3, next evade dice power. On evade win, +1 max of 3, next pierce dice power. Interesting. Okay. So, basically, they're stance dancing, effectively. Okay. Perforate, plus 2 plus haste by 2, max of 5 pierce damage, plus 1 evade, minimum roll value, and guard. Puncture, plus 2 plus haste by 5, pierce stagger damage. Okay, so you get plus 2 to basically everything that you do. High speed stabbing. On use, restore 1 light. Oh, sorry, my nose is kind of messing with me. Sorry if you hear me sniffling. On Clash Win, plus 1 dice power of next die in page. On hit, gain 1 haste next scene. Quadruple Sparking Spear. On use, draw 1 page. On Clash Win, plus 2 dice power of next die in page. On Clash Win, gain 1 haste. And Transpire. At 4 plus haste, all block dice become evade. You know, I was even looking at the block die like, that's unusually unfitting. Let's see. On Clash Win, gain 1 haste next scene. Plus haste times 2 all damage. Yikes. And on Clash Win, gain 1 Starlight. And Starlight is plus X max light until the end of the next scene. Huh? So you just get light for free? That's strong. Pamela. Weak, normal, endured. You deal 30% more damage, you take 20% less. You have Wedge. Graceful Approach. On Clash Win, once per page, gain 1 Starlight, and you have Perforate. Most of it is the same, except for Speared Sweep. On use, restore 1 plus haste by 2, max of 3 light, and gain 1 haste next scene. On Clash Win, plus 3 dice power of next die in page. On Clash Win, gain 2 Starlight. On hit, gain 2 haste next scene. And Collision, which costs 5. Plus haste by 2, max of 3 dice power. Yikes! On Clash Win, restore 1 light and gain 1 haste next scene. Do it again, and then do it again. Pamela. Endured, normal, weak. Basically the opposite of her sister. 30% stagger and deflect damage, takes 20% less stagger damage. You have Wedge, Graceful Approach, and you have Puncture. And you also have the exact same pages. Philip. Weak, normal, endured. You deal 15% more damage, you take 10% less. Passion, plus emotion level, max of 3 dice power. Yikes, what is that? So Philip has to go first, effectively. Stigma Workshop Weaponry, plus targets percent stagger resist missing by 25, burn through pages. Quadruple Sunset Blade, double Stigmatize, on use gain 2 negative emotion coins, and inflict 2 and 3 burn on hit, and triple Rue. On Clash Win, inflict 3 burn, on hit, inflict 3 burn, and on hit, inflict 2. So, yeah, Philip has to go first, right? Am I mistaken in my assumption? Would guns being effective in this city work? Well, since it is allowing us for 2 floors, and we know that Philip gets super strong depending on emotion level, we are going for some clashes, but I'm also just trying to focus fire Philip down. Okay, we are going to take a little bit of damage this scene, but that's fine. Oh yeah, Philip is already almost dead. Honestly, if we just have to sacrifice 1 floor to guarantee that Philip isn't going to be able to scale super hard into the late game, so be it. Honestly, like, just so be it. That being said, we don't have much light, so I am just going to go for Return Fire, and unfortunately that's all we're going to be able to do. Man, that passive is really powerful, huh? You have +1 power. We currently do not, so 4 to 7. Our chances of winning aren't fantastic, so I am just gonna go for Return Fire, hope for the best. Then I'm gonna do it again. I'm going to go for indiscriminate shots, because even if we lose a clash, we do get empowered. Then I'm going to go for amend weapon, just to stack a little bit more damage. You're going to hurt regardless of what we do, so I'm going to go for a headshot, and then we're going to attempt to finish Philip off. Okay, Philip does go down. He is no longer a threat for the rest of this fight, and for the next floor that comes in. So, extremely good opportunity. That being said, we do lose Headshot Fraudster because Oscar decided that he needed to go. Oh, sorry about that. We're going to go ahead and take Laughing Powder. That way we have a little bit more stagger resistance. Stagger, or rather, trying to go against Oscar at all seems like a fool's errand, so I'm just going to try and stack as much damage as possible. Honestly, this seems like our last turn to be alive, so yeah, I'm just going to try and go for as much damage as physically possible, because plus 4 power, plus 3 power, plus haste, which means plus 1 power. Yeah, we're, let's just see how much damage we can potentially creep out. Okay, on it, we just did 101 damage. Okay. Honestly, not that bad. We take Philip out, Pamela is almost dead, and Pamela is also almost dead. We're gonna give Sean Elation because this is his last turn to be alive anyway. May as well make it count. You have -1 power. Let's see, you're rolling 5 and 9. I'm actually gonna roll that, and then I'm gonna go for Return Fire. Let's hope that this is enough to potentially take her down. Unfortunately, it is not, so we got them both pretty low. Wow, Sean actually avoided both of those attacks. Incredible. Let's go ahead and go for Teardrop, just to give ourselves a little bit more of a fighting chance. Let's see, go for Bullseye. And then go for Return Fire. Maybe we take out both. She has 2 health, and you have 11 health. That is pretty much as good as it... Wait! You said I had 2 floors! What? Well, if I would have known that, I would have played it differently. What? You said I had 2 floors! Oh, never mind. Never mind, I read it wrong. Oh, I read it wrong. Never mind. 2 axe. Only 1 floor. Right. Okay, so I misread that. Also, I'm just remembering what this fight truly entails. And oh my god, how are you supposed to do this with 1 floor? Are you freaking kidding me, man? There's no shot that you are supposed to go through this entire thing with 1 floor. You're out of your goddamn mind. Are you for real? So, hang on, just to put it in perspective, if you don't know what is a part of this fight and why I'm freaking out, first of all, Oscar gets like +5 power on everything, and he can deal up to 100+ damage every single hit. That already can potentially 2-shot someone like Netzak, who has 195 health, and very close to 1-shot everyone else. That's already a problem. So you have to go through Oscar, you have to go through 2 subordinates, you have to go through Philip, and then on the same health pool, you have to go through what is effectively a mega boss fight. That's insane. Out of all the... okay, that, I'm just gonna say, that straight up is unfair. How are you supposed to do that? Like, that... I don't know how you're supposed to do that. That actually seems like a huge difficulty leap. And that's saying a lot for Babel, because Babel is already kind of, as you've seen, notoriously difficult. So, what? That is overkill. Oh my goodness. what floor would even be good against that? So assuming that you get through the first fight and you have everyone alive, which is not likely, but is possible. Let's say everyone is low health, right? So you still have 4 people, low health. Now you gotta go through a mega boss fight who has the potential to burn everyone. You're gonna be bleeding health when you're already low health. Unless you have consistent ways to heal, which, let me see. Like, for example, what's that one page? Hang on. You know what? Let's do this the easy way. Nope, apparently we're not doing that. HP. Tended cord. There it is. So, 6% of max HP, assuming you hit. 4% of max HP, assuming you hit. So, let's assume that you land that consistently. That's 10% of max HP on someone. And if you're on Netzach's floor as well, you can also have what is effectively a 1% HP regen per turn. So 11% HP regen. So if we math that out, right, and we just say 200, that's 22 health per turn, I think. And again, that's assuming everyone has 200 health. My math is very bad here. You're going to have to bear with me a little bit. But let's just assume, right, you have a health regen of 22 per turn. Everyone is low health. And then the boss potentially does, let's say, 15 burn to everyone. I don't know what he's actually going to do, but let's just assume. So everyone completely loses the regen. The burn is ineffective. But that is also just the boss having burn on you. That's ignoring the fact that the boss is still very capable of hitting you. And from memory, non-Babel version of this boss has like 6 speed dice. That's that's a lot. That, I don't know how, like, Tamari, at the very least, we can see, like, the finish line for that one. I don't know how we're gonna do this one. This might be another roadblock, man. I guess we'll see. We do have the tools, I feel, to take out Tamari now. At some point, we will, after we do Tamari, we're gonna try the Kurakumo. And potentially that'll go well. I mean, the bleed synergy on Hod's floor alone will be really good. And then maybe we can move around where our gun floor is, and that would be kind of decent as well, since I don't think guns are going to be as effective right now compared to some of the other builds that we're getting. And I think there's also a couple general receptions that we can do as well. Now, again, this is all speculative, just from memory of the base game, so there is a chance that the second phase is a total joke. But it's Babel, so we know better. But, yeah. So, I think we are going to have to adjust our build. And let's give Tamari one more try, and then I think we're going to call it. Well, let's see what the chorus can do against the town. Okay, unfortunately, we didn't get extremely... Oh, we prevent the strength. Okay, honestly, we got a little bit unlucky with our strength rolls so far to take a tiny bit of damage. Okay, good stuff. This is going better. Ow. Okay, Laughing Powder. It's going to make it a little bit harder to get us staggered. Let me see. You know what? I'm gonna roll it. We are going for it. I kind of want to burst as much tremor as physically possible, and I think I'm just gonna try and spam do that. Upbeat performance might work. We are gonna go for attended chords just to try and get a little bit of healing. Shrine to music might work. Let's see. Upbeat performance once again, just to try and get a little bit of healing. Same deal. And then let's go for some rupture damage. Okay, I think we've mapped this out correctly. Let's see how we do. Okay, upbeat performance, working out quite nicely. Unforgettable memory does prevent a little bit of damage on us. I mean, I will take neutral attacks. Like, I'm super not opposed to just drawing even. Okay, absolutely huge amount of stagger. Echoes from beyond. Now, this is going to be huge. Observe. Tremor burst on everyone. Boom. Look at those effects. Rupture, fragile, susceptible, damage down, stagger damage down. Absolutely huge value. We are going to go for heavy peaks because I need to try and get a stagger. I don't think that's going to be enough. Let's try... we can't really prevent a lot of these attacks from going down. I'm going to go Clash of Sunup just to get some damage. Tendon cords, maybe we get a little bit of healing. We are in a lot of trouble, though. Okay, let's adjust just a little bit. Let's see how this goes. Maybe we stagger Tamari. Although, so far, not looking incredible. We're actually about to get to phase 2 again. Oh, we do get the stagger! Oh my, absolutely gigantic. Here is the other reason that I think Netzac 4 is going to be amazing. Thorns. And we're going to put it on Netzac because right now he's the healthiest. Okay. Stagger goes down on everyone. We are in a fair bit of trouble. Whip of Love is all but guaranteed to kill Netzac. How do we want to do this? Honestly, I think we might have to just sacrifice someone here. So I'm going to go for... Ah, man, this sucks. Let's go for Red Note. Let's go for Upbeat Performance. Then let's go for Flash of Sunup. That prevents quite a bit of damage from being done to us. I'm going to go Unforgettable Memory because it actually is going to gain quite a bit of power. I don't know if it's going to be quite enough, but it is going to gain quite a bit of power. We're going to go for Flash of Sunup because it should do a lot of damage. Sean might be in some trouble. Let's see. Let's try and prevent a little bit more damage. Ignore that. I don't think we're fast enough for this. Oh, we are. We are actually fast enough, so we're going to go for a one-sided attack as well. Here we go. Yeah, that was to be expected. Oh, Sean immediately gets staggered and killed, which puts Tamari basically back to full health. Okay, quite a bit of damage being done with all that rupture. Unfortunately, Tamari is extremely powerful right now, especially because Tommy just went down. That spam tremor is doing really, really good. I wish that Heavy Peaks, honestly, doesn't have, like, too bad of a chance of winning some of these clashes. But it's just not quite enough. Dang it. Okay, it's certainly going better, right? This certainly isn't bad results. But it's also not quite enough. Let's try and index Tamari down. Ouch. 75 damage being done to us. We do get staggered. Wrath of Torment does take out Netzac. Yeah, dang. When Tamari hits phase 2, all bets are off. At that point, you basically have to kill her in 1 or 2 turns. Because if you don't, it's game over. But musicians did significantly better. Even with the increased healing, I'm trying to think. if we had a backup floor, well, but we used our floor. And that's kind of, that's one thing that is a little bit concerning, is the fact that we do have to go through the first phase, right? And if we take Netzach's floor for the first phase, there's the very real chance that we're not strong enough when phase 2 rolls around, and we're not going to be able to keep pace with Tamari and her 3 minions. Although they did pretty good, considering they went into it at literally emotion level 0, they actually got all the way to phase 2, which is not bad at all. But with that, I believe that is gonna do it for this episode of the Library of Babel. So, all things considered, we did actually make a little bit of progress in this one. Not as much as I would have liked, but we did actually defeat one of the new battles. We are on the cusp of defeating Lovetown, and I honestly don't know how we're gonna take out Wedge Office and the Kurakumo clan. I've got no ideas right now. Having more battle symbols would help, but yeah. And then Tifra's floor still doesn't really have too many builds, just because we have to defeat the first abnormality fight in order to really do that. And then, unfortunately, this floor is also suffering a similar fate. So, progress is being made, right? Like, it's hard to say we're not making progress, but at the same time, there is still incredible peaks that we still need to scale. I think next episode we can definitely do Tamari. I feel like just refining how we do that fight and indexing at the exact perfect time is how we're gonna do this. Now, unfortunately, you can't stagger Tamari when phase 2 begins, because she immediately recovers and gets 40% of her stagger resist back. So even if she's staggered, it doesn't matter. You can't go past like 350 health or whatever it is. And she recovers from stagger, so it's like your phase 2 always begins at the exact same point, effectively, regardless of how hard you hit her. Now, there is the potential that if you just burn stack and rupture stack and tremor stack, maybe you could make something work, because you can still do damage to them, but you aren't going to be able to do any damage on that turn, but you could stack statuses for the turn after. Another thing is, and this is just unfortunate, I think part of it is just pure RNG. It really depends what the other townsfolk use. If they use the one where you don't clash it and it basically is super weak, then you're going to be in a good spot. But if they use the one that you have to clash or else it gets plus 10 power, you're honestly just out of luck. So unfortunately, I do think there is going to be a fair amount of RNG in this one, which I'm not an extreme fan of. But what are you going to do? So, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. And in the next one, we are hopefully going to be continuing our progression strides. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.